Hey, Monty, saw the update that Chris remains in protocol. Is there a chance he can still clear it tomorrow morning prior to tip-off, or is he definitively out for game one?
I think the statement was pretty clear that he's in protocol, so I'm going to leave it at that.
Next up is going to be Dwayne Rankin with the Arizona Republic, followed by Rachel Nichols.
Coach, I just think he was just trying to confirm whether Chris is going to play, because if you're under protocols today, it would seem unlikely that he would play tomorrow. So I think that's what he was getting at. With that being said, this obviously is very, very important in terms of, this is also a series. So how are you even approaching it at this point, knowing that, okay, we could be without him tomorrow, we could be without him for another game after that?
I can't, because of the climate that we live in. Things change from day to day. So I've tried to just take one day at a time. I certainly understand the line of questioning, but for me, based on the information and based on the history of this particular protocol, everything's day to day. And so that's how I have to kind of approach it. I wish I could tell you a time so you guys wouldn't have to ask me this all the time, but at this point I can't. It's pretty much day to day.
Next up is Rachel Nichols with ESPN, and then Sierra Santos.
Hi, Monty. What kind of conversations have you been having with Chris? Is it just checking in with him on how he's feeling and how he's doing, or is there times where he's looking at film and talking to you about strategy and trying to be a participant in prepping for the series, even from quarantine?
Both. I check on him to just, talk to him as a friend, person, relational. And then we talk about strategy. We talk about the game. Last night we were watching the game together and talking at the same time about what we saw. So I mean, that's pretty much what I would do with any of our players. But to answer your question, it's been both. It's been, hey, what's up, coach? Hey, Chris, that kind of thing. And then it's like, did you see this particular play? Did you see that rotation? Man, this guy can hoop, whatever it is. It's a basketball conversation. But that's no different than my relationship with Chris for the past 11 years. It's always been that way.
Next up is Sierra Santos with Fox 10, followed by Logan Murdoch.
Hi, Monty. I wanted to get your overall thoughts on playing the Clippers, and what did you think of that comeback down 25 points last night?
Well, they're a good team. They've shown that they can overcome deficits in the playoffs for sure. And, watching the game last night, you just saw the Clippers impose their will defensively. And then offensively, they just kept attacking the paint. And, they got a ton of open threes in the corner. And Terrence Mann was obviously the star of the night. And then, they had other guys step up. Reggie was really good. Paul was Paul. But I just thought their defensive intensity in the third quarter was the key. I mean, the first play of the third quarter, man, pretty much knocked Donovan Mitchell out of the play off the court. And you could see that they were going to establish a more physical presence. And so I was watching as a coach last night to try to figure out ways to play against either team. And then when I saw them make that run, that was just a lot of will and shot making with a ton of good defense as well.
Next up is Logan Murdoch with the Ringer, followed by Kellen Olson.
Hey, Coach. Devin Booker's always talked about the chip that he has on his shoulder. As a coach, how do you coach a player with that type of chip and make sure that he uses it in a positive way, in a constructive way, as opposed to his detriment?
Yeah, I mean, I think when we talk about chip, we talk about competitive nature, basically is what we're talking about. And you don't want to get in the way of that. When I talk to Book about the stuff that goes on in the game, I never want him to allow somebody else to make him look bad. by using his competitive nature against him. And we've seen that throughout the series where different teams have tried to either cheap shot him or play physical with him or say stuff to get under his skin. And he has the edge, the chip, to go right back at people in a competitive, physical way. And I know his intentions are good. And so I try not to sway him at all when it comes to that. But I also want him to understand what they're trying to do. They're typically trying to get him off of his game. And because he's so competitive, he just doesn't back down from anybody. And that's what I like about him. That's what I love about him. So we have different conversations about different tactics that teams have used against him to try to get under his skin. And he's, throughout this playoffs, you know, he's been phenomenal. We had situations versus the Lakers. We had a situation versus Denver. And he stood up for his teammates, which I loved. And then he got right back to the game. And that's a sign of maturity and growth from a guy who's been in a ton of situations, but on the big stage has been able to use that edge to his advantage.
Next up is Kellen Olson with Arizona Sports, followed by Jovan Buha.
Hey, Monty, yesterday you mentioned the Clippers switching, and I was just wondering what the biggest challenges are when a team has a lot of that in their scheme defensively.
I mean, they're not the only team that does it. I mean, we do it. Some of the best defenses in the league do it. I think the key for us is to play the way we play. You know, we are a 0.5 team. We play paint to great. You can't hold the ball against a switching defense. The biggest key is getting stops so you can play in transition and get out and run before they can set their defense. But, you know, last night they posed some problems for Utah with their switches. They've been pretty good in that environment this year, but we feel like we've seen it before. Everybody knows your plays, you know their stuff, and your spacing and playing efficient and fast can help you in those environments.
Next up is going to be Jovan Buha with The Athletic, followed by Anthony Slater.
Hey, Monty. The Clippers have been playing small for about 30 minutes a night, and you know, we're really able to target Rudy Gobert at times. What type of challenge defensively is it for DeAndre when it is a group of guards and wings out there that can all shoot, all put the ball on the floor, and them trying to potentially go at him?
Yeah, I think your team defense has to be at a high level. You know, you hear certain coaches talk about shrinking the floor, shifting, loading to the ball. You know, DA has shown himself to be pretty good in those situations. Sometimes the numbers look a little weird, but from the eye test, he does a pretty good job of forcing smaller guys into tough shots. And the one thing that we can't do is overreact when a guy makes a tough shot over his length. But when I think about it and I watch film, you know, when you're in that situation with a bigger guy on a smaller guy, the guys around that particular environment have to be in protection mode so that the guy with the ball just doesn't see alleys to the basket and there's straight line drives. So they've done a good job. They did a good job in the Utah series of trying to get the Jazz in rotations. And that's something that we talked about as a staff.
Next up is Anthony Slater with The Athletic, followed by Gina Mizell.
Yeah, just kind of building off that. What on the other end do you think DeAndre kind of has to do if they're small most of the series, like, you know, kind of punish him on the glass and maybe go to him at times?
Yeah, I think that's something that, you know, we feel like can be an asset advantage for us, you know, the ability to offensive rebound, to attack the paint when they do go small. And DA has shown that he can. You know, different teams have tried that against us this year, and we've been able to go inside. And whether it's him on the boards or him posting up around the basket, we want to try to take advantage of that. But, you know, they're one of the best teams in the league at doing it. That's why they're still standing right now. So we got to be on point when we attack that defense.
Got time for three more. Next up is going to be Gina Mizell with Suns.com, and then Barry Bloom.
Hey, Monty, we asked you at the beginning of the week just how you would utilize the extra time off. So now that we're kind of at the end of the week, what do you feel like are the biggest things that you guys accomplished, the biggest priorities that you focused on? Just kind of maybe when you look at the totality of the week, what are the biggest things that stick out?
Well, I mean, we got a chance to rest the first few days, and then, right, even on the days where we rested, the gym was full. I mean, we almost have to shut the gym down to keep guys out. And so I thought once we got back to work, there was a great spirit about the gym, and we were able to learn from the series. You know, every day we came in, we talked about the games as a group, not just the coaches. And we were able to listen to the players. They were able to see what we saw and listen to what we had to say. And so there was a lot of knowledge being thrown around the gym so that we can be better. And then I thought the scrimmage yesterday was huge for us to get up and down, to have a competitive scrimmage. There was a great spirit in the gym. There was a build up towards that because we weren't sure if we were going to be playing tomorrow or Tuesday. And so yesterday was the day that we targeted to scrimmage. And I thought we had a good build up towards that. So a lot of talking about who we could play, but a ton of work and a build up of our work to get ready for tomorrow's game.
Final two questions are Barry Bloom with Sportico and Catherine Fitzgerald.
Hey, Monty, for a more global sense, what's your feeling about the way Robert Sarver has rebuilt the franchise, including you and your whole staff and other people above you, the rebuilding of the arena, getting through this COVID period? What's your opinion of all that?
I mean, I can only speak in relation to my dealings with Robert have been off the charts. He's given us everything we need to succeed, from the practice site to the arena. Everything we do, hotels, all that stuff is high level. And then personally, we have a great relationship. You know, Robert and I talk frequently about a lot of stuff. Family. I think he likes my boys more than he likes me because they're more fun. And, you know, I just have a really good relationship with him. And so from the day I got here, from the time we first started talking, we were pretty honest with each other about what we wanted. And I can't say enough good things about my time here in Phoenix and the working relationship that he, myself, and James have, and what he's done for the organization, allowing us to bring in the staff that we wanted, and all the improvements that have been made around here. They point right to Robert because he's opened up his checkbook and he's been a huge part of what we do.